You know, you and I have kind of a history.
Yeah.
A couple of real, I keep saying quick stories and they turn out to be 5 minutes long. But Bryan and I were kind of into the voiceover, the voice work. And Bryan, who next to Casey, you had like the Casey Kasem deal down.
I still get asked to do it, but I did not get asked to replace him.
Dang it.
Dang. What's his name?
We actually did a top something countdown.
Are we going to get to that one?
Yeah, sure.
I love it. I wish Steve was here for this.
But so we were in the recording. I mean, Marla, my wife, and I laugh about this all the time.
Me too. See this coffee cup? And here's what I can't remember, but you're going to tell the story. Whose coffee cup was it? And who? Go ahead. Was it me or you?
I don't remember the coffee cup part.
Oh, no, okay, I'll get to that. I want to hear your story then.
Well, no, see, Marla had come in and she was sitting in the studio and Bryan and I were in the sound booth and we were doing, you know, like a two-man back and forth kind of thing.
The top 62 of 1964.
That's what it was. Yeah. And we came to this one group, Gary Puckett and the Union
That's where
Gap.
we're going. That's where we're going.
And Bryan... And it was so stupid why I got ticked off about it, but Bryan, I mean, next to me, Bryan is like the nicest guy in the
the second
world.
nicest guy in radio.
Probably a lot nicer than me if the truth was known. But anyway, Bryan kept saying it like...
a certain way.
Yeah.
And John was correcting me. Okay, so Gary Puckett, and I'm probably going to do it wrong again. You ever have those moments where somebody says, no, it's like this, and you think you're parroting back exactly what they said, and they go, no, it's like this. And I'm doing it again, no, it's like this. That's what we were doing.
Yeah. Anyway, so Marla is back there. It's like, come on, just shut up. Let him say it. Union Gap. And it's not Union Gap, it's the Union Gap.
See? Now you know. I'm not even going to say those two words. I've never said it again in my life. Gary Puckett and his band. Okay, which is the two words, right? Union Gap.
Now you got it.
Okay.
Yeah, Union Gap.
It took me 30-some years to get it.
I actually got to tell that story to Gary Puckett one time.
Did you
And he thought it was so dang funny. And he goes, the only reason we called it Union Gap, which is a little town
in Washington.
He goes, is because we were doing a gig in Spokane as we were just getting started. And he goes, we had never even heard of Spokane. We're from California. And we drive through this little town and it's like, God, that's a great name.
That's funny.
But what about the coffee cup?
Well, maybe we had a second one, or I thought maybe it was that one, where one of us was so frustrated and mad at the other, a coffee cup got thrown. And one person walked out, and I don't know if it was me or you. I really don't.
Really?
It was like...
The two nicest guys couldn't get along.
Yeah, we were fighting. I don't remember who got the most frustrated, but it was like the coffee cup, throw it on the desk. It's all right, I can't deal with it. You know what? I don't know if I did it or you did it. But
Well,
there was that moment.
Knowing our personalities, it was probably me. I don't think you do that.
Oh, I've done that before.
And why did we throw things?
God, that's an expression of, I can't hit you, I'm going to throw, so I don't know.
The thing that broke me of throwing, I would throw cards.
I used to do that too, yeah.
It's like, you step on a vocal when you're doing, and it's so important to you, and the listener is like,
who cares?
First of all, they didn't like you walking over the intro of their song
I was
anyway.
Shut up anyway.
But I had just thrown this card at the door, and it, exploded, and maybe that was the explosion that, calmed us down.
Yeah.
But Minkler had just started to walk in when I pitched this card, and he just shook his head, didn't say a word, and he goes back outside, and about 5 minutes later he comes in and he sets down this stack of empty cards. There was no.
It didn't have today's top hit on the card.
And it was like, if you got to throw stuff, throw
the bad ones. Come on, that was Elton John. You just.
But the other story I wanted to tell, Bryan and I, when we were about, I don't know, in our 20s.
Oh yeah.
We would always say, God dang it, when I'm 30, I'm getting out of this stupid business.
I think we were around 25, 26, somewhere in there. And 30 was approaching, and
Yeah.
we knew that we had to get out by the time we were 30. How'd that work out for
Well,
you?
I was going to say one of us is still in radio.
I'm gonna be 60. I missed that by 30 years.
I was going to say I'm at that point where I'm starting to hate that Beatles song, you know, that one
When I'm
about
64. Yeah, that's your song for this year?
Well, it will be shortly.
Wow. Man, but was there any better job at that time?
No.
They're just, you know.
I told somebody, and I can't remember who it was, doesn't matter, but they said, do you have any regrets about radio? And the thing I said, and I really, really mean this, the only regret I have about my radio career is that we actually bitched about stuff at KGW. It was the greatest
4 hours a day.
Yeah. In fact, when I got fired and went to Kissin' to do the morning show there, the first day I was on, Corky Corson, who is a legendary voice talent in our town, and he's been in radio for years, a great guy, he calls up on the, you know, it's like, of course I knew who it was when I picked up the phone, and he goes, "Hey Williams, how do you like the same kind of radio the rest of us have been in for the last 20 years? It was perfect.
Yeah, yeah. We were treated well, I guess. People called it spoiled, but man, we were treated really well. And yeah, there were times when we bitched about things, and when, especially, you know, when things changed and the PD thought we were all a-holes.
Yeah.
And so we were treated accordingly for a while. We forgive you for that.
Well, except for Chuck Lakefield. And Richard Harker. And Jim LaMarca.
And Richard. I remember told him to make it sizzle. Do you remember that? I just flashed on that.
In fact, Corky, who was with us at the time, he started referring to him, to Rick, as the Sizz guy.
The Sizz guy. There you go. All right.
There you go.
Gosh, what else we got here? We could go on forever. Favorite station event? We did a lot of them. There was Neighbor Fair. There was, you know, I mean, there was 4th of July.
Yeah. But my all-time favorite was not as big as Neighbor Fair, which would draw like 300,000 to 500,000 people at Waterfront Park. It was a big festival. It was like a neighborhood diversity kind of thing.
All
and
Portland neighborhoods had booths and stuff, and I mean, so you would see what different areas were like and what they were doing in the community.
And were we like in charge of the entertainment, or?
Yeah, KGW, and then Joan Teal was at Channel 8. It was Channel 8 and KGW radio thing. But radio, if I remember right, I think radio had all the presence on stage. I don't remember any of the TV people coming to do that.
No, Neighbor Fair was huge. Then the 4th of July at Fort Vancouver. But my favorite promotion that we did every year was St. Patrick's Day at Jake's.
At Jake's. Yeah.
And
there was always a ride home.
Yeah, that's right. One year, it's St. Patrick's Day, it's Jake's, and Jake's is like the place to be in Portland on St. Patrick's Day. But Jim Donovan and I, who had this idea that we were going to be a two-man show.
I remember.
Yeah, because I did 9 to noon, then he did noon to 3. But at noon, we always did this bit called Edge of Lunch, and it was, you know, some stupid bit. And we thought we were these wonderful personalities. And anyway, so we're doing this broadcast at Jake's. Did Scott Tom happen to tell you the Jake's story?
No.
That he was involved in?
Not this one.
Funny, maybe I shouldn't steal it from Scott, but I made a career stealing material.
Hey, he's had his chance and he missed it. It's yours.
No, but the first of all, the Donovan and I, we were doing our shtick at Jake's, and there was a little radio station across the street from the Jake's. Jake's is a bar, and restaurant.
Was that the old KKEY? The
KKEY.
Yeah.
And there was this guy that was like a talk show in the afternoon. Well, Jimmy and I had you know, quite a few Irish coffees by then, and the broadcast was getting a lot of, you know, flack from our general manager, Jim Woodyard
Yeah.
at the time. He was a nervous guy. and we were making him incredibly nervous. But anyway, so we finally left the air at KGW, and this guy, whoever he was from KKEY, I think it was, came in and he goes, "You guys are kind of funny." He goes, "Would you come across the street and be on my show?" And it was like, "Are you serious?"
I never remembered that.
So, Donovan and I waddled across the street, and we did our show, kind of a shtick on this poor guy's afternoon. Of course, he only had 20 listeners.
20 listeners, but that was 15 people who really appreciate that.
I'll tell on Scott Tom.
All right.
I love you, Scott, but this is a hilarious story. We were doing the Jake's live broadcast on the air on KGW, and
which was pretty risky because it was live.
It was very
There was
risky.
no delay.
It was live with hundreds of drunks, and so Scott Tom has his roving microphone, and Scott, how do you explain Scott? I mean, he had no fear. He was kind of friendly, naive, if you will.
Okay, yeah.
So, and Scott would do anything you asked him. And Scott, who is still on the air, by the way, turned out to be a real good disc jockey. Scott, he takes his wandering mic and he goes into the men's restroom.
Oh, no.
St. Patrick's Day, like at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and of course, he walks up to a guy who's standing at the urinal and he goes, "So, what are you doing?" And the guy goes, "Dude, really? I'm taking a piss." Live. Poor Scott. Oh, God. Scott, really?
Oh, did you ever have any of those mistakes on the air where a word came out that wasn't supposed to? I can remember, and I haven't had a chance to chat with Jackson yet, but I remember when the Jackson did's filling in for Dave Hood. That I'll tell, but when it gets on video, I'm going to have him do it.
Yeah.
But he was filling in. Rainy afternoon, I remember. We're hanging around. We always hung around the station, and he was going to Lyle or Russ or whoever was in traffic, and it was 62 KGW, Bill Jackson, and wow, traffic looks like shit today. And we're sitting in the other room, and we're like, did he just? Yes, he did. We walked in there, and he goes, I think I just said. I don't know if he's got that air check, but it was classic.
I never did at KGW. I had in the past done some bloopers on the air, but the one I remember at KGW that I did that was terribly embarrassing for one of our reporters, Marie Dodds, was we used to communicate with our traffic people all the time over the two-way for traffic, and when you were on the air, traffic was a huge deal. Report to traffic, and that was one of the ways that KGW was really helped us rating-wise, is people would listen to us.
Because we're always on it.
We do news and traffic at any moment. And anyway, this was way back when Vic Attia was the governor.
Oh, yeah.
And there was this big press conference, and everybody had set their microphones up at the table, and the governor was going to come in. And just as the governor was walking in, Marie, for some reason, left her two-way on the table where all the microphones were. And I get on the two-way and I go, "Hey," we used to call her Linda for some reason. I go, "Hey Linda, some dumb bitch is stuck on the Fremont Freeway. Can you do a report for me?" And Vic Attia's just walking in.
Up to the podium.
Yeah, and it was like this, Japanese business people or something, and it was the sister city, and after the press conference, the governor took Maria aside and really, it was like, you shouldn't even be allowed at the next one.
Oh my gosh, getting chewed out by the governor because of John. Sorry, Marie.
Sorry, Marie.
Oh,
we're still good friends.
Yeah, that's a good one.